Welcome to episode 586 of Salsidoparanormal. I'm your host, James Salcido, and tonight I am sharing true paranormal stories from the web. And this is the first of a week of episodes of this type of true paranormal stories from the web. Just something different to do for something different, like I just said. Anyway, thank you all for listening. You can always find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media, on the podcast page, and that is salsidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal. Excuse me. .podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or accounts of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. Thank you all for listening, whether you're here for the live streams on Discord or if you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds or on the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of 2 episodes of the show every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Michael Strange and Trouble Minds Radio comes on. And as always, I want to thank Mike for having me on the network and putting all my shows up there. If you'd like to support the show, there are a few different ways to do that. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can find books I've written, paranormal fiction and nonfiction, and with one coming hopefully soon, within the next few months or so at the latest, I'm thinking. I'll have to check on that, but so books that I have on Amazon. You can check those out. You can also join the Patreon, where there is now one extra episode per week of true paranormal stories from the web every week. So, or you can also make one-time donations through PayPal. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, especially these days, as there are expenses in making these shows, from equipment to research materials to travel expenses in some cases, and even to making books that will be associated with the podcast as we go on here. So I think that covers everything. So yeah, I was just talking to people before I started recording here. I've decided to change a little bit of not the format, just the distribution of episode types throughout the week, starting next week. But I want to do something special for this week before that starts, and because I haven't done too many of these true paranormal stories from the web episodes lately, outside of the Patreon feed. So I wanted to do just kind of have a bunch of those, because it's my favorite thing to do is to look up these accounts and then share them. So it was a lot of fun to do that. And so I think that with that, I can get on to that right now. So as always, if you've had any experiences with the paranormal, as I say, you can always contact me, and you can either send them in to me in a written format through email or Discord direct message, or join me on the show. And if you don't want to use your name or use names of people, or even specific locations, detailed locations, that's fine. It's more about talking about your experiences or sharing the accounts of your experiences for others to hear, and maybe realize that they're not quite as alone in their experience as they might think. And I've noticed that over the years through a lot of other shows I listen to. That's sort of what led me to make this one, is to help with that effort, and spreading more awareness of these things that we can't always explain. So, getting to the stories here, the accounts here. This first one says, my girlfriend and I stayed at the Emily Morgan Hotel in San Antonio, Texas. even though we have done some paranormal investigations before, we were unaware that the hotel was extremely haunted when we booked our stay. And just gonna jump out of the story here for a second to say that is, unless you think to look for it beforehand, it and you look into the hotel a lot, you might not find information about that. It's not as surprising to me that they wouldn't have known. I mean, especially if they do that, but they only investigate here and there. Depends on how much time they would devote to that and how much research they do when they're not investigating. Um, that may seem strange to some people, but it doesn't surprise me at all. And some hotels don't want to advertise that kind of thing. I don't know what the position is of that hotel, and of course, that could have changed between the time of that this happened and the time of recording the show. But just want to point that out. So back to the account here, it says while walking around the bar at night, we both saw a shadow figure walking from one dark room to another. Upon investigating the room, we found no one inside and no exit. Back in our hotel room, my girlfriend was in the bathroom when she felt someone playing with her hair, causing her to exclaim, "What the heck?" At night, we began hearing knocks in our room. We decided to communicate with the spirit by establishing a system: one knock for yes and two knocks for no. The spirit responded almost immediately, allowing us to have a full conversation. I recommend this hotel for those seeking a good haunted hotel experience. And that's where that one ends. The knocking is, to me, it's another tool or another method of communication, which is definitely can be interesting. I guess as long as nothing else really happened to them that night. I mean, I always wonder when it comes to the entities trying to make physical contact, were they really playing with the girlfriend's hair or were they just trying to make physical contact and that's how it seemed? And I'm not saying that they're that's not possible that whoever or whatever was there was playing with the girlfriend's hair. I'm just saying that you have to consider possibilities as to what is really going on. It's really hard to know the intention unless you get a strong feeling. It's hard to know the intention of whoever is causing the experience or what they are meaning to do when they're making contact like that. So, I mean, granted, I understand it'd be startling. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be, but just to keep that in mind. But yeah, the knocking, and that is, I wonder how that might be something fun to look up one day. Is the origin of the whole one knock for yes, two knocks for no thing. I mean, I imagine it goes back to the times of seances and the early stages of seances and all that, but I wonder if there's even sort of a deeper history. Um, so yeah, so I'm not gonna read the whole comment, but I will. Yeah, DG, I do. There's definitely that possibility that's the case sometimes where some ghosts are creeps. So I don't doubt that at all. But yeah, so the but yeah, with the knocks, I wonder, and of course, I wonder what the conversation was. But yeah, anyway, neat account there of few experiences that this couple apparently had in this hotel, both in the public part in the bar area and in their own room. So moving on to the next one here. This one, let's see, make sure I'm at the right spot. Yep, okay. This one says, my wife and I are very cautious about home security. Despite living in a nice neighborhood due to our upbringing in more shady areas, we have noticed that sometimes we wake up to find exterior doors unlocked, even though we always double check these doors every night before bed. Interior doors that were closed when we went to bed have also been found open. We have security cameras installed, but nothing suspicious has ever been captured on them. However, the security cameras occasionally send alerts stating that a person is in the living room. But when we check, no one is ever there. Does anyone know what to make of this or if there's anything we can do about it? And that's where that one ends. Um, I don't like to try to tell anyone or give a lot of suggestions as to what to do about situations because I don't feel qualified to do that. Um, but I think there are options. I mean, but it just depends on how you want to go about it. And so, but the doors opening or being unlocked, that's that's that reminds me of I've had that happen with my front door. Not so much in recent years, but when I first moved here, the first really the first like half of the time I've been here, like the first 8 to 10 years, Logan, my cat, is apparently full of energy right now, running around. Um, so sorry if you hear those noises. But I had it where the front door would be unlocked when I locked it, and there she goes. And then it would also be locked when I unlocked it. I would have it unlocked because I knew I had company coming over, and they get here and they would knock, and I would tell them it's unlocked. Come on in, and they'd have to call through the door and say no, it's locked. So had a lot of that. Haven't had as much of that now. It makes me think about something. I don't know if this is a factor or not. Um, this last year or so, uh, a new lock was put in the front door there. So I wonder if that, I don't know, changed things or not. Of course, now that I've said that, it'll probably happen again, possibly. But anyway, so yeah, doors being having the locks manipulated and all that. I've definitely heard of that. I've had that experience with that. Uh, and so yeah, and then being open when you had them closed. And it is good that they had the security cameras there to sort of to rule out any kind of uh, intruders of the living kind, so that they know that's not going on there. Because I mean, that's also a possibility. But unless you rule it out, it sounds like they did their best to, and it sounds like the cameras were thinking they were picking up people in the living room when there was no one there, as far as the people could actually see on the live feed. So definitely, I've heard that before, and so, um, but this is the thing: these people that wrote in this account on the website where I found it, if they're not into these things, they may not have ever heard of that before, and they may think that they're the only ones dealing with that. So, um, so yeah, that's the point of doing these shows. And so yeah, moving on to the next one here. Let's see, make sure I'm on the right one here. All right. This one says, let's see here, make sure I'm on. It's funny, these first three accounts here have, um, yeah, okay, not quite three. There we go. This one says, my boyfriend and I have experienced strange occurrences since moving into our apartment. Objects have moved from their original positions uh, drastically. My boyfriend occasionally hears wailing sounds coming from the bathroom, which he initially attributed to me. He has seen movement out of the corner of his eye and felt a presence as if he was not alone. Recently, he has been seeing movements resembling his old black cat that passed away long before we moved into the apartment and before he met me. While sitting on the bed, we both felt and heard what seemed like a cat trying to jump on the bed, falling, and then scurrying away. I can confirm animals will do that. Cats will do that. They'll get a little too excited or a little too confident. And they'll try for something and then it won't work and they'll just run away. Anyway, we then noticed our dream catcher had turned over, which we tested and confirmed could not happen on its own. A stuffed animal we owned was also found across the room. My boyfriend's deceased cat had an Ojibwe name, hopefully I'm saying that right, meaning spirit. I don't know if these events are evidence of my boyfriend's deceased cat's ghost, or if it's something else, taking the shape of the cat. This is all somewhat unsettling. What do you all think? And that's where that ends. I don't know. I mean, it does seem like there's a lot of activity there going on. It seems like it could be cat-like. It could be the cat, possibly. It could also be some mix of some things are caused by this the writer's boyfriend's former pet, and then there could be other things that are not caused by that. That's the thing. It's hard to know. I think sometimes if how much is it all caused by one source or by multiple sources? And so I don't know with that. But at the very least, the part with the bed, like I said, that very much sounds like a cat thing that they would do. And then just run away after, just because they're annoyed that they didn't quite get it right when they were trying to get up on the bed or on top of whatever they were trying to get on top of. Like I said, I've seen that and heard that with my own cat. So, but the rest of the stuff, I don't know. It's hard to say, but it's a lot of activity there. I think we have time for one more story, at least here, account here, of experiences. So we'll get to that. Let me see here. This one says, my friend D and I planned a camping trip from Friday to Sunday. Around 9 p.m., while stargazing about 100 feet away from our campfire, we saw a huge orange ball rise from the ground in the western sky. At first, we thought it was the moon, but it was in the wrong area of the sky, rising too quickly. And the moon wasn't expected to be out that night. The object emitted a perfectly circular mist around it, which was unusual given the weather conditions. They have in parentheses here, perfect darkness, no clouds, low humidity. The object appeared to be about the size of a pea, that's PEA, held between the forefinger and thumb, with the mist extending about 2 inches in all directions. We estimated the object to be about 300 feet high. but it was difficult to gauge its size and distance due to the lack of sound. The object passed over us and disappeared behind a tall tree, approximately 150 feet high. After about 30 seconds, the object reappeared in the shape of a boomerang and continued along the same path. I lost sight of the object quickly, but D, who was about 30 feet away, saw it for a bit longer and reported that it changed color from orange to blue. D, a skeptic of paranormal phenomena, was so shaken by the experience that he left early. I wonder if the object was a drone, even though it wouldn't explain the mist or the changing shapes. Several weird things have happened to both D and I since this incident. Can anyone offer a logical explanation for what we saw? That's where that one ends. My answer to that is no, I can't. Um, the the drone possibility, I don't know with that one. Um, I mean, unless it had the ability to some kind of ability to change shape, which I think I've heard that is possible these days. But still, the way it was so quiet, which I guess is also possible. It's hard to say, but then they said that they've had experiences since then. So I wonder, um, does that mean, can that mean that that was also something anomalous? Or was it more the fact that they couldn't explain it, whatever it was, that has opened them up to other possibilities and that is what has allowed them to have other experiences since then. Whether it was, it'd be ironic if that was the case and it really was a drone. I wonder though, I mean, I would guess you could probably put some kind of emitters on the thing, on a any kind of flying object that would put out some kind of mist, but then for it to be so even, that I don't know how you do that because that's way too technical for me. But yeah, that's quite the sighting there, and I don't know. It's really hard now because of all the technology to know what to think with a lot of these sightings. My my initial reaction is that it is anomalous. It is something that's not a machine, that's not made by humans, because I'm so used to thinking that way. But that's I can't just do that. That's not right. Um, yeah, I don't know. Well, and they said it was. Yeah, they said they didn't really say what the temperature was outside. That's true. DJ in the chat says, "Wonder if it was cold, like ice fog. I don't know." But I'm guessing they wouldn't be. Well, I don't know. That might just be me. I was gonna say I'm guessing they wouldn't be camping if it was too cold, but that's just me. That's just because I like to be comfortable, so wouldn't be camping if it was too cold. Then again, I don't ever plan on going camping again, so that is also just me. But that is all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all on the next episode of Salsido Paranormal. Take care.